Hey, what's up, guys? So I thought this would be quite a funny thing to do. I recently we've applied for a startup loan through British Business Bank, and one of the things that I was asked to do was to send a copy of my CV, and I was like, oh crap, I don't know when was the last time I actually did a CV. And it turns out it wasn't that long ago, but I thought it would be really useful to go through with you guys and show you how I just changed my own CV, because I think it's something that very rarely gets seen. And about in December 2018, a friend of mine referred me to a management consulting role up in Canary Wharf for a big consulting firm, and actually went there. I got through all the stages and it was fine. But for me, I've never been particularly attracted to working, for a big corporate firm. That's just me. But at the time, I was a little bit unsure of what I was doing. I hadn't long left another role, a big role that I'd been in for 5 years. So I had to do my CV, and what you'll notice here is like there's a couple of things which I thought was super funny. First of all, here, so I'm like 32, 31, 32, and I thought I wanted to go and work in software development. So I think at that time I wanted to become a machine learning engineer. It wasn't long since I'd left my job as a chief operating officer. I'd been out for about 6 or 7 years, and I was running another business. I had a business on the go, and it was kind of doing okay. It wasn't doing stratospherically well, and I just didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So if you feel like that in your early 20s, welcome to the club. Right, and I kind of wrote out this profile, and it's so funny because I wouldn't tell people to do this at all. And I had a GitHub. My GitHub is awful. Let's go and look at it. I bet I haven't put anything here in so long. It's so laughable. But I can only see this with the benefit of hindsight. So yeah, this is my GitHub. When was the last time I did anything? In like 2nd of April 2019. And I did a little bit of stuff, but anybody, like if I was an employer looking at my GitHub, I'd be like, dude, you don't want to be a software engineer. You just think you do because you want lots of money. So what you'll notice here is I've got so first of all, I take this off because it's not relevant anymore, and I don't need this profile. I've got to admit, I put the profile because I felt pretty vulnerable, like trying to potentially go back into the workplace as like a 32-year-old. And I was a bit like, I felt like a bit of a scared kid. So I was like, I'm going to do this profile and kind of justify why I've made these changes. But I wouldn't have this now, and I've got my education. God, it's been so long since I went to university. As you can see, I got a 2-2, so I went to Warwick. I got a 2-2. It's all there. My A levels were not great. I got like an A, B, C, and a D, and to be honest, no one cares. That's a really funny thing with hindsight. When you're in your early 20s, you're like, oh my god, what about my degree? And it's like, no one cares. In here, if you're a fresh student, I'd say put on some modules, but I just don't bother because no one cares for me. Bearing in mind, like when I got a 2-2, it was a really big thing at the time. I was in my early 20s, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm a failure, I'm never going to do anything with my life. Now I just don't even think about it. Like if somebody said to me, oh, what's sociology about? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. And then I've got my employment history. So I've got, most recent, so you can see how long ago this was done, 2018. Holy crap, that's 3 years ago. I thought it was 2 years ago. Coaching manager, and the reason why I want to show you, I've left the company's name off because it's with respect to that company. To be honest, you could see it on my LinkedIn profile, but what you'll notice here is that I'm very much targeted around like what I did. So I'm like, I ran the day-to-day ops for a business with a turnover of £1 million, manage a team of this many people, mediate the day-to-day running. I don't really like that. Carry out the HR function for all staff. I probably wouldn't have that anymore. I think that's too much. Mediate the day-to-day running, manage high net worth clients, carry out manage the business. I probably wouldn't have that as well. Copyright and proof or document. I don't think that's really relevant. So actually, I'm cutting this down. Bearing in mind, so it's really funny because people will be like, "Oh, but I can't cut it down." And I'll do like 8 bullet points. Like really, I can summarize 3 years of work in about 4 bullet points. That's pretty much what I did. I mean, you could learn more about it. Then my job as a coaching manager, so that's more about, how many clients I was managing at any given time, the result, and I was managing a team of coaches and consultants. And finally, coach and assessor. Yeah, that's crazy. I worked with 20 clients a month. Yeah, did a lot of coaching, man. And then finally, self-employed copywriter and sales executive. That's kind of where I got started. Yeah, and really that's not that old, because pre like 24, I just, I wasn't, I think I did, like I had my own gardening business, like I really didn't have my stuff together. And I find it really funny because people are like, "Oh, you're so smart and you did all this stuff and blah blah blah." Like I really didn't have my stuff together, and in some ways I still don't. This I probably wouldn't include. I'd take it off. My languages, my Mandarin, which was HSK3, is probably now business fluent because I've been learning it for another like 2.5 years. I definitely can't use Python and SQL, so I'd say I can use Microsoft Office. It's sort of intermediate. Am I still interested in machine learning and badminton? Hell no. So I think now I'm more interested in like CrossFit, Krav Maga, writing and reading. Funnily enough, I've always been interested in writing, but maybe I just didn't. So I wouldn't include this because I don't think it's so old now. And I could probably chop some of these. So what have I done since then? Luckily for me, I can just go and have a look at my LinkedIn profile, which is basically my so I'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I was a director, and also so I had 2 businesses. Since then, this is my 3rd business. And I don't say that because it's like so you think like, "Oh my god, he's just jumping from business to business," but like I've done different stuff, and part of the reason why I want to do this video, I just thought it'd be a bit of fun, is because it's so deceptive when someone's like, "Oh my god, like he's done all this stuff, it's amazing." It's just like most pretty much all the successful people I speak to, their road to success is pitted with a lot of failures, a lot of random stuff that they got up to, and just not great basically. So yeah, probably like here. Yeah, so I was a founder for another company, which was basically I just had a few Chinese clients doing that. And then my job at Job Ready English, which I actually haven't written anything about in my LinkedIn profile because I was just like, "Oh, I can't be bothered." If I'm really honest, I was like, "Oh, and I did this." I do sometimes feel like LinkedIn is a bit of a can be a bit of a glory hound. It does make me a little bit uncomfortable doing it. And then what I do is I kind of shorten this up. But I just wanted to. So for example, like here, what have I done? I'll probably leave that one blank because they'll fill it in for themselves. So niche consulting company, and I'd probably say identifying client needs, target market, screening employees, and designing coaching systems. Company was folded to be replaced by Job Ready English. And then here, so Liquid London, I used to love vaping, and one of the rules of entrepreneurialism is like scratch your own itch. So I basically didn't like paying for stuff. So I was like, cool, I'm just going to make my own company, and then I won't ever have to pay, and people can pay. Did all right actually. I think we did about £20,000. Yeah, and then ceased trading when I went to Asia, when I went on a sabbatical there. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of give you an idea, and I always find it really funny when people struggle. Like, to me, the CV is still a bit long. This is, what is this? So this is almost 10 years of working history across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different things. God, I'm flighty. You know, and it really, you know, one thing to kind of think about with writing is, you know, please spend the time to edit down your writing. No one's going to write anything good first time. They're going to write it and edit it, write and edit it. And this CV I would have originally edited at least 4 or 5 times. So for those of you who are kind of looking at CVs and going, oh my God, I couldn't make a CV as good as that. Of course you couldn't, because it's going to take time. And if you're really bad at writing, just pay someone to do your CV. I don't really understand why people, like, CVs are really important, and why people spend so much time and they're so stubborn about just doing it themselves. I'm like, dude, just get someone to pay it for you. I'm not going to learn how to fix my car. I'm going to pay someone to do that. I'm not going to learn how to, you know, fix the radiators at home. I could. Doesn't mean I will, or it's a really good use of my time. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Just as I thought that would be a funny video to share. And let me know what your biggest problems are with CVs, if that was funny, useful for you, and other videos I could do.